Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I've got to remember some names. That's right. Jody, this one goes out to Jody Fordunkley, which is a ALP, Australian Labor Party member, federal member. And I noticed her video on what's her names? So many names of these people that I don't know. Annika Wells. On Annika Wells' Facebook stories, and so I'm seeing what they're doing on social media, to the tune of Lady Gaga's "Stop Calling." Stop calling, I don't want to talk anymore. A video clip where Lady Gaga, the beginning of it, if anyone isn't aware of the Lady Gaga mythology. So Lady Gaga is taken to a prison by two very large, feminine, androgynous-looking guards. Then she's put in a cell in which they say, "See, I told you she wasn't a man." And then Lady Gaga starts having a homoerotic lesbian fantasy with a bunch of women prisoners, only to be liberated by Beyonce Knowles in a homage to Kill Bill, where she picks her up in the pussy wagon. I think that's pretty much it. So stop calling, I don't want to talk anymore. I left my heart and my head on the... I left my heart and my head on the dance floor. It means that she's lost her head and her heart, been sent to jail. It doesn't say on Facebook Reels, which is weirdly where, and Facebook or Instagram Reels, which is where I'm seeing this content. So you understand how I'm getting confused here. Because this song was a pre-social media song, hence the reason it says "Stop Calling." And basically what it's about, it's a female anthem about the fact that females are getting bombarded by sexual requests from men in the pre-social media world. And basically, this girl just wants to dance. Stop calling, I don't want to talk anymore. I'm getting jiggy on the dance floor. But, wow, it's fucking cutting edge musical. Like, it's basically Wagner, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, and then Lady Gaga. And I think everyone can fucking agree with that. To invoke all of these images, all in this gigantic display of hypocrisy, it takes some effort. Okay, at some stage, I'm sure these people are going to start realizing that they're being fooled, that they're being led down a garden path to humiliate and embarrass them all, because you're posting these things on social media, right? You're not responding to 4 years worth now of you just keep kicking that can down the road. I know you want us all dressed as women in prison, getting rescued by Lady Gaga and Beyonce, and you all are obsessed with this idea that it was better in the year 2000 when we didn't have social media and Lady Gaga and Beyonce were ruling the airwaves. But that's really confusing to the young people, because you're putting their fathers in jail. And that you're not putting their fathers in jail because they were out on the dance floor and they left their heart and their head on the dance floor, just Kelly holidaying, fucking ecstasy, wiggles party, that type of thing. You're putting their father in jail because of the negligence of the Australian Labor Party's policies and protocols and legislation and policing of your own insanity, your own communist insanity. You've put a young Australian father, business owner, in prison, and then forced him to quite possibly, take on the largest philosophical argument in recent human history single-handedly. to reverse engineer what exactly this whole thing is doing voluntarily in order to, restore his reputation. That's not a way to run a country. And then at the same time, you're silencing children by using this simplistic argument all to the theme tune of a Lady Gaga song in which she, as a young woman, is imprisoned and then, like, basically sexually assaulted by the guards, in which they fucking, forcibly inspect whether she has a penis or not. And you're the people that are apparently, you're in the fucking they, them, LBGTQ support network, fucking open thing, like opportunities, all this stuff camp. Plus, I don't know who you are. A lot like Abby Chatfield, I can guarantee that I have to check again. Your name isn't memorable. Your Instagram is just filled with like these really weird, like, communist posters, like Commonwealth teacher scholarships, childcare, Frankston. Like, oh look, you're looking from behind a tree with your devilish red hair, just really interfering with a lot of families and not taking a lot of constructive criticism. See, the ultimate algorithm, echo chamber, fucking destructive content paradigm that I'm still criticizing and bringing awareness to is the public school brainwashing that I was, forced to participate in against my will. There isn't a lot of children that are voluntarily, wishing to go to public school. You're forcing them in there, and you're forcing them to listen, against massive threat of punishment if they don't, to drug-addled fucking basically teenagers that have been that are a copy of a copy of a copy, like a VHS of Lady Gaga's "Stop Calling" that is really on its last legs. There's definitely really dodgy bits where people have paused to see like a flash of a tit, and it's been passed around so that people can just freeze frame Lady Gaga and see if you can see her boobs. That's the level of teachers that these young people of Australia are now being forced to listen to as you ever, attempt to maintain total control. But why isn't this system, receiving the same criticism? Well, that's because as the Australian people, we don't have the right to ban children from public school. Do you know what I mean? In no time in my social media fucking history, or my children's, has a fucking gang load of balaclava wearing, machete wielding, psychopathic fucking teenagers rocked up to the school and the school's gone in lockdown. At no point in my social media history or my children's social media history has there been a fucking shooting at a school, which happens very regularly in the place where Lady Gaga and Beyonce Knowles live. And, perhaps in that fictitious video clip, maybe there were some school shooters in there with them. I don't know. What are you doing? What are you doing there at the Labor Party? I want to see behind the curtain. I want to see, what's her name? I can't remember that. The two girls off Wicked. I want to see them go behind the scenes at the Wizard of Oz fucking Emerald City there at the Australian Labor Party fucking headquarters. Because you lot are fucked. You lot are so off your fucking heads. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing. It is really starting to concern me. And if this shit doesn't fucking get sorted, if there is an adequate reply here, because I'm going to send this to you. Like, this is going to get, like, I'm going to forcibly remove my children from this indoctrination system that you are making mandatory. There is absolutely, if I relied on my public education studies in order to put up this defense, I would be probably doing what you're doing. I'd be recklessly using reference to hideously inappropriate video clips from a pre-social media era in order to try and lure the Australian parents that have basically just popped out of your system and have now procreated because of constant sexual, promotion, who are now forced to parent in the most difficult environment ever conceived on earth for young parents to potentially thrive in, whilst being told that that's all social media's fault. What is going on here? Like one answer, just one answer is all it needs. You are just following a script now. You are just marching or attempting to march the Australian children off a fucking cliff. And it doesn't make sense. It's like that every strategy we've ever used to civilize any environment ever is being abandoned. And it's a really cherry-picked argument. Like, I know a hell of a lot of women now middle-aged women who basically, like, in one way or another, destroyed their lives because they just left their heart and their head on the dance floor, like Lady Gaga told them to do. Like, how do we get to look back into the recent history? We're not talking about the 1920s or 30s. We're talking about the noughties, the 2000s, where there wasn't social media. There wasn't the choice to find, appropriate education or appropriate, assistance, or, really find a high fidelity of who you are in the content that you absorb. You were just force-fed Lady Gaga, like like basically in a funnel, like going to a university party or something like that. You know what I mean? You just force-fed Lady Gaga. Force-fed Lady Gaga video clips in which she's presenting as a woman being abused by the fucking prison guards and sexually fucking, like, harassed in this form of finding out, And that was just us. That was us as, like, young people in the early 2000s, just like, okay, our government's just force feeding us Lady Gaga. At least now they have a choice between, like, lots of other things and Lady Gaga. Do you get what I mean? Like, you're attempting to utilize the fame that was enforced because she was highly distributed. You're like you're trying to hitchhike on the Lady Gaga monsters train, but you're really, really doing a terrible job at it. I don't think, because the thing is like all Lady Gaga's messages would not be like, yeah, do as the government says. So even that's wrong. And even the thing that's like, stop calling. It's like, what? The government is the people that keep fucking calling. They're calling constantly on social media. Like a bunch of fucking hornets or fucking, I don't know, march flies or horse flies or fucking, I don't know, you're just swarming around the dying carcass and attempting to kill this fucking thing that is the only reason that you're there. You're trying to pretend that you haven't had back-end fucking tools as the sitting government, and that you haven't selectively censored out the opposition, and you force the opposition to, like, make their own fucking, like, really cute fucking clothes and present to you on the daily, and you're just saying, stop calling, Shannon. I don't want to talk anymore. I left my head and my heart on the dance floor. Stop calling, stop calling. I don't want to talk it. Like, I'm not I'm not a fan. I'm not trying to like seduce you all. I'm trying to be the opposition of the country. Does this make sense? Like, it's like Lady Gaga saying stop calling. I think Lady Gaga saying stop calling. I think Beyonce saying who runs the world? Girls run the world. And if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Then plus the addition of the most dangerous, social media that has ever been unleashed in the world, the social media that, basically destroyed millions of years of human courting protocol and human breeding, which is the dating apps. And because every woman who has had the fucking dating apps has had this illusion that there is 7,000 men just waiting to fucking marry them, like this woman or Free Will here has put it, the wedding ring in my comments section. But that's not true. That's not true. That's like saying everyone who watches a Lady Gaga video is a Lady Gaga stalker. It's like saying everyone who flicks a fucking, a 5-cent coin into a wishing well is basically Prince Charming. That's not the real thing. This is the most dangerous delusionary fucking environment that has been created, and all the women are collectively in it. Because unless you pretend to be a woman and go on the dating apps, you don't understand what that is like. And see, it's selective ignorance, because the women aren't actually going on dates with all of these men. The women are doing exactly what the men do. They're stockpiling lists. So the men stockpile the lists on the dating apps so they have a little, a little orchard of possibilities, because that's what men are like. But the women, they hold that and they're very selective, and then they will go and date one that they find is good. But they'll always keep it in their mind that orchard is abundant and plentiful. And so it's like the ultimate thing. Like, this has never happened before. It's like imagine, like I said, let's bring 7 million Chinese women here so that every man, Australian man, hardworking Australian man, can have a second wife. And then every Australian woman's just like, fuck, because there's just 7 million Chinese women, like, with the entitled government mandate to go and marry a fucking Australian man. And they're allowed to have 2 wives. It's like, that's it. It's like, if you have one husband, you've instantly lost half of your power to do with that man. That's what these dating apps did to women. They convinced women that there were fucking 7,000 individual obsessed callers that will not stop calling until they're fucking walking down the aisle with every Australian woman. I'm sorry, it's not the case. There aren't 7,000 men saying stop calling. If a man is trying to interact with you and you're a politician, there's a higher chance that man is just trying to be opposition and potentially using the back-end social media tools that our government has utilized. You have potentially actually put him in prison, actually fucking caused him distress and fucking sexual harassment and all these things, actually tortured and humiliated and done all these things, like the 2 prison guards checking if Lady Gaga has a penis. Have you checked whether I have a penis? Not one fucking person has. Not one person. I could have cut it off 10 years ago. How would you know? Do I have to come up with a catchy fucking disco fucking anthem for you all to listen to me? Is this literally what the Australian Labor Party has broken itself down to? It's just willing. Did you pay licensing for that song? I'm just confused. I'm very confused. And the problem is like, this conversation is happening on social media and it is being ignored. And the only person that I can find that has given these Australian Labor Party women license to participate in this is Lady Gaga singing from inside prison. And I don't see Beyonce anywhere to rescue her. And so if this is literally the place that these Australian Labor Party women are going to get their authority in order to speak to the Australian people, then I would highly, highly question their capabilities and their abilities and their expertise and their qualifications to make the largest psychological, or to undertake the largest psychological experiment, the largest, social engineering experiment in the history of the world with this reckless abandon. So yeah, I guess I'm sending this. I've forgotten your name again. Let me have a look at your name again. Your name was Jody Bealey. Is that Jody Bell? Jody Bell, and the other one is, what's her name? I've forgotten her name as well. The one that's always flying on aeroplanes and going ski. No, it's a big workload to try and remember all these names. But that one, I'm going to send that to you. I'm going to send, so the two of you, and then I'm going to send it to Lady Gaga. And I'm going to say, Lady Gaga, is this what you meant by this? Or were you just singing a catchy fucking party song, a little bit like Nickelback's fucking Rockstar? Is Lady Gaga the Nickelback of 2025? You better believe it. You fucking better believe it. And to celebrate this revelation that Lady Gaga is the Nickelback of 2025, Nickelback is coming to Optus Stadium and to the fucking Tasmanian place as well, where we're going to do that, and to South Australia, in which what's her name, Shannon Hearn's sister, is running now as the opposition leader in South Australia in a hotly contested race for the state government. So go, I think it's Catherine Heard, or I can't remember. But really looking like we're getting this undercurrent of common sense, really, where we do enjoy the music for what it was, but we don't let it shape our political opinions and our country's political opinions unopposed, and we don't turn the other cheek as the social media powers that a very selective, very, very authoritarian government has used on its own citizens. And we basically praise the fucking underdog spirit that it would take to actually present 4 years of opposition from a dark fucking closet where you're being constantly harassed, bullied, and sexually fucking abused. You know what I mean? I think that's, if anything, I think Lady Gaga's Stop Calling was a call to arms against the constant accusations that she may be hermaphrodite and may have a penis. I don't care if Lady Gaga has a vagina or a penis, I'm still going to put it in my mouth. And that's really what we all need to ask ourselves, right? What have you been putting in your mouth, and what has been coming out of your mouth? And how many people have you imprisoned in a fucking digital concentration camp that you are now trying to blame the conceiver of, who never wished this in a million years, but you basically forced him to give you back-end tools in order to torture fucking your opposition into submission, but they didn't submit because they're glorious, true, patriotic Australians, and they'll put on whatever fucking clothing, and they'll fucking make a fool of whatever fucking policies you're attempting to fucking steamroll and fucking forcibly fucking force like a fucking baby lamb, fucking putting it in their fucking mouths like you're drenching fucking baby lambs in a fucking docking shearing fucking station. That's not what our government is. You don't even like sheep. So stop treating the fucking Australian people like fly-blown fucking sheep that needs to be micromanaged through the fucking digital world. When you're clearly all fucking just delusional fucking drug-addled fucking Lady Gaga fucking perverts. You know what I mean? Ladies, she's going to put a fucking restraining order on you all. Don't use my song to fucking do this. I couldn't believe when I got the phone call this morning, because Lady Gaga, unlike you, where she says stop calling, Lady Gaga has me on speed dial. And I said, Gaga. And she was like, Shannon, they're just using my song to like try and prop up this thing. I hate it. And she was in tears. The poor lady was in tears. It was fucking dead. And I said, "What can I do for you?" She said, "Tell them off. Tell them off. I've had enough." That song is 20 years old. It's 20 years old, and I'm absolutely not happy with it being used in a ridiculous social media ban that is going to hurt the people that I care about the most, which is the LBGTQ plus fucking whatever franchise with fries on the side. And I really am not happy with this red-headed banshee woman using this song to attempt to enslave the young women and men and curious fucking, in the middle, all kinds of things. It doesn't matter if you're whatever, baby, I was born this way community of Australia who has found a place finally on the internet. And as a champion of the previous era, I don't want to see the world make the same mistakes that it did when I was a young, irresponsible musician just trying to make my way in the world. And yes, I am the fucking Nickelback of 2025. And then we sung Shallow together. And she let me sing the high bit. I'm on the deep end, watches on. And it was fucking amazing. And none of you were ever going to see it because it happened in private. It happened in private. Yeah, it happened in a private space, which is what social media can be if the government, stops fucking peeking in everyone's windows, which is what it does. I've already been sent to a maximum security fucking prison in which they didn't check whether I had a penis. So I was, why did you assume? Fuck you. Why did you assume and put me in a male prison, huh? Why? Because my mum and dad put M on my fucking birth certificate, or the fucking psychopathic doctor who was spoon feeding psychiatric medication to my mother put an M on the fucking birth certificate. I didn't fucking put an M on the birth certificate. You stuck me in a male fucking maximum security prison for fucking being passive aggressive on the internet. Pretty horrific shit going on down under. I can't imagine what everyone around the world is thinking. How did it get to this? How did it get to this? Anyway. Yeah, basically, there's an effect, and if I could get out of this, if I could get out of this war and actually attend physical classes at Oxford and do my thesis there, there is a theory that I want to try and progress, which is called the observer theory, and this is like the control that people feel that they have when they are observing other people against their will. So they're spying on them, right? And this elevates the more authority you have. So if you're a government that's spying on your people, you believe that you understand those people more than they understand themselves, and that's really wrong. It's an elevated sense of authority and an elevated sense of righteousness, but it's really flawed because you're failing to realize that you're observing, and the control that gives you, the feeling of power, is actually skewing your perception of what's actually acceptable to the larger majority of people. And so you slowly but surely lose track of this until you are so overextended in your potential controlling and spying and observing culture that you are living in as the authority government figures, that all it takes is a little gentle breeze or an appropriately timed Lady Gaga song to kind of break the whole house of cards down. And everyone says, stop spying on us. It's because you're spying on us all the time that nobody feels confident enough to do anything potentially hostile, like, I don't know, tell off bullies in social media land or enforce it. Like, this just happens naturally. If the government had to micromanage and police every single, account where someone's too drunk and they call someone this and this, and every environment across the land, they would be fucking broke the next day. Australia, or any country, any civilization, has always run because a bunch of people self-automate their responses to antisocial behaviour. at the time, in the place, and this is what is called, chivalry. It's like if a person comes to your aid and stops the person, or if a person can, negotiate with someone who's acting at the full and being a moron, who is inebriated and being really dangerous or reckless, then there's kind of an interactive, naturally instinctual thing that human beings do in order to mitigate that type of antisocial behavior. Unfortunately, on the internet, it's not happening because everyone is walking on eggshells because they're concerned that the government is spying on them and that they'll put them in a maximum security prison for attempting to bring peaceful harmony in the digital space. And how do I know? Because this is what you did. This is what you did. This is the hypocrisy of the Australian Labor government's social media ban. It is the absolute cherry on top of the fucking cake of the lowest common denominator, absolute tyrannical fucking Karen fucking super army that has emerged in the wake of absolute fucking conformist lunacy stemming from a fucking global created health crisis and a government enforced mandated vaccination policy, or as I like to call it, the vaccine communion, in which you fucking forced, like the fucking like the what's it called, the Inquisition. You forcibly fucking made people participate in what can now only be described as a religious fucking ceremony to attempt to bring in some type of antichrist digital fucking super god, and you failed. You fucking failed. And it's time to just politely leave now. We don't want there to have to be violence. You just got to leave. You know what I mean? This isn't like a little bit of opposition. This is the entire fucking human race opposing you at every point, and you are just continuously fucking breathing in your own farts and walking the plank. You know what I mean? And I guarantee you that plank ends, and there is a fucking ocean at the end of it, and you will not really enjoy going in that shark infested water. So you're out on the plank. You need to look around and say, oh, am I out on a plank? Oh, shit, I better turn around. Yes. See, the plank wasn't meant to kill people. It was meant to put people out in a precarious position because that is what they inflicted upon the crew. If you put the crew in danger by, attempting a mutiny or antisocial behavior or attempting to, completely fucking silence everyone's chance to appropriately regulate their own environment, then you would be put out on a plank, and then you would, really viscerally feel what you were doing. You're on a plank in the middle of the ocean, and there's sharks in the water, and the boat is moving, and if you don't fucking say sorry, you're going to be dead. Do you know what I mean? It's just gone too far. Each reference of each musical song, of each thing, is going to be scrutinized with a fine-tooth comb. And we already want to go back and scrutinize. If you've already opened the door to precedent that this environment is dangerous because of da 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 da, well, I'd like to go take that logic and reflect it back on my own period that I developed in, which was far more homogenous, far more controlled, and far more antisocial. I couldn't actually believe, because I'd only heard the song. I hadn't watched the Lady Gaga video clip for a long time, but I watched it and I was like, this is weird. This is weird. This is really weird. Like, I was like fucking 14 when I watched that. I was sat down, forced to watch that by there being nothing else. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, no wonder I'm putting on fucking girls' clothes if I was forced to watch like the Pussycat Dolls, Lady Gaga in prison. Like, you've fucking sexually addled my brain and probably the entire fucking world's brain. And that was maybe your devious plan. And maybe that's okay, but none of that can exist if we're fucking all silenced. So you're really stuck. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place with your own creations. You've created this mess. You've perpetuated the fucking LGBTQ cult thing, and now everybody is in that cult. And now you've attempting to be like, nah, we didn't mean that. And then you haven't realized there's a whole other side of that argument that has been in the closet because I don't know. That's the whole point of it. So fucking hell. Hold on to your fucking hats. Hold on to your seatbelts and get ready for a wild fucking ride over there on the fucking left. because you're way out. You've gone way out too far. You're out in deep water. You're surrounded by reefs. You know what I mean? We can't even really. You're gonna have to get back on your own steam, as they say. You're gonna have to really fucking explain all these things, because every one of these videos I do, if you don't acknowledge it, it gets sent and bought and sold and put in a fucking hard drive, and some fucking millionaire, fucking billionaire, trillionaire, fucking, prince or something like that has it in his vault. And at any time he wants to fucking go and fucking blackmail the Australian federal government, he can wheel it out and go, oh, look at this. Did you realize this was going on? He did directly address it to you. Now, what are you doing? Are you putting the entire population at risk to attempt to like promote these fucking sub fucking standard fucking bullshit rogue fucking apps that do the exact same thing but have nowhere near the amount of scrutiny because no one knows who they are? So you're turning a problem into a problem where we've isolated who they are. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Really, that's it in your world. In my world, it's the dating apps and the fucking porn apps and OnlyFans. But in your world, it's those apps. So you've identified the four, highly visible, highly scrutinized environments, and you've forced them to regulate, which has forced ultimate distribution potentially to an out of control state where we will have no fucking idea what is going on. And you're doing that with a Lady Gaga song where she's fucking stuck in a prison cell and then fucking forcibly sexually assaulted by the two guards and then escapes prison with the help of Beyonce. Well, you'd better hope that I don't have Beyonce's number, because I joked yesterday and said it was the Russian government and a submarine that was going to rescue me, but actually I can hear the pussy wagon in the fucking background. It's Beyonce's going to rescue me. She's going to rescue me. Anyway, on that note, I bid you all adieu, and I look forward to hearing, an adequate reply to this well thought out, well researched political opposition statement. Thank you.